Mari Hoe-Raitto, and I'm telling the story, The Polar Bear Cub. Once a long, long time ago, there was an old woman that lived in a village far up north. She was a very lonely woman. And sometimes she was very hungry because she had often no way to get food. She had no sons, no daughters to help her getting in food. One day, when she was going out on the ice, she saw something white far in the distance. And as the thing came closer and closer, she saw it was a polar bear, little polar bear cub. She took him home because she thought he didn't have a mother anymore. "I think you should be my son," she said, "and I'm going to call you Kunitjuak. Kunitjuak, my son." He was a very happy polar bear cub. He loved to live with this old woman. She fed him and took care of him. And as time went, the village kids started playing with him, and he was happy with them, playing all day long. Winter, spring, summer, another winter went by, and then spring was here again. Big Kunitjuak was now not a little polar bear cub anymore, he was big. Now he was learning how to hunt and fish, and he would bring home enough food for the old woman, who was now a very happy mother. She loved her son, Kunitjuak. He was such a good hunter that he could provide for the whole village. Not only for food, but for fur and for blubber to cook with. As Inuit traditions are, they share their food and everything else they have with the rest of the village. And the old woman did the same. She would invite them in and say, "Help yourself, I have plenty." So nobody in the village were ever starving anymore. And everything went well, and even if Kunitjuak was a big bear now, he was very friendly and he was very protective of every child in the village. As time went by, the hunters in the village, the men, mostly the men, older men in the village, they grew jealous of Kunitjuak. He was way too good of a hunter for them. The children in the village one day overheard them talking and came running to the old woman and said, "The old men in the village are going to wants to kill Kunitjuak because he's too good of a provider." And the old woman was very upset. She went around from home to home and pleaded, "Please do not kill my son, Kunitjuak. He's the only son I have." The men had decided what to do, and they said, "No, he's going to be killed. He makes it look like shame. He's too good. Plus, he's going to be a really good meal tomorrow, and we can also use all his fur." The village kids were very sad and crying, and so were the old woman. They could not understand how somebody could be so cruel. So finally the old woman had to go and talk to her son Kunigjuak and tell him that you had to leave. And please go far, far, far out on the ice. So far they can't find you. And he looked at the old woman and understood what she meant. Please never forget me, she says. And he started walking off in the distance, as the other village kids also were just crying. It was a sad moment for the young people and the old woman in the village. As time went by, once in a while she would go out on the ice. She was lonely again. She had lost her son. And sometimes she was really hungry again. One day, she would always leave really early in the morning when she went out, because nobody else was out. So she would walk out on the ice, quite a ways out, where she would sit down and listen if she could hear something. And then she would call his name, Kunigjuak, Kunigjuak, are you here? And always he would, after a while, come back and see her, and they would hug. And she would check him all over, see if he was not injured from hunters. Then he would go and fish for her, and they would share salmon and seal together. That was a very special time for the old woman, and for Kunigjuak too. That was her son. The old woman was the polar bear's mom. This would go on for years and years and years. And even today in the village, this story is told from generation to generation. So the young children in the village can learn the bond there is between the mother and the son.